right. How do we get this?
I never thought I'd say this, but I spit so much that my lips are cramped. Oh my God. Oh, 20 years at harmonica did not prepare me for that amount of embouchure. Wow.
So how did the spitting control what was on the screen?
So it's fascinating. So there's 2 cups, and first let me say, don't mix up the cups. All right. And you suck water out of 1 cup, and then you spit it through the straw into the other cup. And while the active stream of water is going, it closes the circuit. And that makes the fire hose of flame or whatever come out. And that's it.
How
really.
did the bigger flames come out then?
I think you just do it for a long time. Is that it? What makes the big flames come?
Mechanics is that when you take hits, it gives you like energy and like an angry energy, and when it fills up, you take enough hits, you get the chance to shoot a big ball.
Oh, so when you get hit a lot, if you shoot it, if you do it the right, I didn't know that. I couldn't really look, because I didn't want to like look up there and then be spraying water everywhere, so I had to kind of look. I probably should have turned to face the screen. I didn't think of that. But it was hard because you had to kind of look down. As you're looking down at this cup filling up with your own spit, it really was a little disturbing. And then you had to really strategize about like, oh, when am I going to go and get more water? And then once I got nervous, I got all this water and then I swallowed it all. And I'm like, oh, whoops, and I had to go. And realized I never played a game before where I swallowed a bunch of my ammo and regretted it. So I was fascinated by this spitting mechanic. That was for me. That was I don't know. That was pretty exciting. And what I couldn't even see what you guys were doing. You were stomping.
And you guys said it was jumping, but it wasn't jumping. It was like rapid little hops.
It was like this.
Well, it wasn't. So
you had to do this.
I think so. It was like
And you had to hit the strips.
Yeah, and
I see.
I was.
All of a sudden I'm hopping and nothing was happening.
So it's like joust. You have to just keep hopping.
Sort of joust.
Like joust.
And the thing that was frustrating was there's no feedback. Like I couldn't tell. Like I was trying different forms of jumping and getting absolutely no feedback.
I got feedback from
there was the character would go up, but there was no like does a longer hop do something different, or like how does that vary? And the feedback loop was really tight on this, which is a little hop makes him go up a little bit, and you'll get but the cooldown, like basically, if you do slow hops, you'll get nothing because he'll go up a little bit and then just come down. You just string a ton of little hops together.
That's really the only way that I found.
And so there was
string a bunch together and actually make contact. So the challenge was looking at the screen to see if I was working, and looking at my feet at the same time to see if I was in the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
I want a bigger surface.
I think it's my mistake because I put too much tape on your left shoes, so it's reduced the conductivity.
Makes it harder to.
Got it.
And then the other thing, I mean, because the mechanics together were really interesting. Actually, it was fascinating that you guys couldn't really strategize based on the screen because you were focused on this.
No, you could though. Like I could see it because I'm trying to watch. I'd be down here and I could see the enemy where the enemy was, and I could kind of see where I was, kinda. And so then it was just like, okay, because the whole idea was, boy, I don't want to waste, because this is work over here. You know, spraying through this thing, and you realize, geez, if I run out of that, it'll be really bad. So you don't want to waste it. So trying to line up for like, okay, I think we're going to be lined up now.
I didn't feel like let me come back to that. I didn't feel like I got good score feedback until the end. We won that second thing. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Painter's booties. Do you know what painter's booties are?
Yeah, little paper.
They're
Usually paper shoes,
paper
right?
or cheap cloth booties. You can buy them at a Home Depot or a paint store or something. If you sewed those into the booty, then we could put the booty on, and it would give you probably better contact.
Yeah, think this time it's like the setup was a little messed up because in previous playtests you don't actually have to look, you just have to like jump. And
Right.
I think we sort of like to make this game a little more challenging. We lower the. We find it's too easy to evade bullets when we do playtesting it at the beginning because every time it's easy to control. Every time you jump higher before, but right now so we lower the height every time you jump.
Got it.
But that kind of messed up with the little setup. So.
Now, is it tune like the first game that ever was controlled like that was this old arcade game called Joust that was this multi-button flap thing, and it was funny. There people who weren't good at hitting buttons fast, they would totally fail because they would just their character would just be popping around on the bottom of the screen. You really had to get good at that rapid fire in order to get where you wanted to go. And this has that similar. The tuning ends up being kind of a big deal. To figure out how to get that right, and of course has a lot to do with the shoes and the foil and the board.
Well, and I think the comment about like couldn't tell it was about to end, like the feedback of like how are we doing well?
I saw there were bars across the top, and I kept looking up there to see, where are we?
Yeah, and
Is it over soon? Am I winning? Do I need to work harder? Can I rest?
And it took me a while to sort of like I never figured out what the little dots were. Like I wasn't sure if that was a jumping meter, because that was like one of the things I was trying to figure out was so the dragon moves up and down. I was trying to figure out like is there just a visual indicator that like yes you are jumping, like just feedback on the pure mechanical thing, and then I would apply it to the dragon. But then I think that little dot meter was what you're saying was that was like the rage meter. Okay. Like I guess
if you get hit, you get angry, and if you're angry, you do more damage. So there's kind of a weird little
and then
complexity.
the other piece of feedback that really wasn't there at all was when you get hit by something, like the dragon doesn't react at all. So it was really hard to tell.
Right.
One thing I wasn't sure was, like, were those just really close shots, or did we actually get damage?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I had like if I did the work, I'd have to like watch that and then watch the health and like make the connection.
And what happens when you get hit by a big ball of fire as opposed to a small ball?
So the big ones do more damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I didn't know that.
one thing I want to talk about,
I
like,
assumed it, but it wasn't communicated.
got it. Yeah, right. Because it was hard to tell how much damage was going on. But one thing I want to talk about is the spitting mechanic. It really was absolutely fascinating to do, because it was. I know it sounds crazy. It's totally intuitive. Like I would know how to, anyone knows how to spit water. Everybody knows how to do that. And it completely worked. Like there was no moment where I'm like, why isn't it working? It like worked exactly right all the time. When you were putting water out, like it would go, and then as soon as there's no water, it totally stopped. And it was really strange because it was an interesting physical challenge to figure out like how much water. And then of course, you want like, I probably shouldn't have, now that I think about it, but I wanted to like push the water really hard, like it was going to make more damage. But that of course wasn't true. But it was weird. I've never played a game before where I was any kind of dragon-like creature actually doing a dragon breath thing. And here I was kind of doing it. It's like I only have this much stuff to shoot out of my mouth. And then that's going to actually hurt this guy, and I saw it happening. So it was weird. It immersed me in the game in a way that I never thought would have worked. And it was the whole like dealing with the liquid was way more compelling than I would have expected.
Oh, and the theming worked really well for this. I think getting the metaphor of hopping to like to get the dragon to go up was not super intuitive with how the dragon worked. I think if there'd been a little bit of like the wings flapping or just something to sort of say this is going to work, but clearly the fire as like a metaphor for what's going on worked really well. And there is a BVW world that I think it was maybe I want to say like 99 or 98. It was Godzilla. What they did was they took a little switch.
The straw. I remember this.
And they put it on the VR headset, and they put an index card on it. So when you blow on it, the index card would just push on the switch, and you just go around the world and you just shoot Godzilla fire breath everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a blowing mechanic. And that it is interesting, like where you get the interface to line up really well with sort of the metaphor of what you're doing, how it makes just a visceral connection.
What would happen if you blew bubbles in the water? You start with a little bit of...
I did some, like, yeah, you could, I mean, you could blow bubbles in the water. The important part is that you make the connection. Actually, would I have cheated if I stuck the straw in the water and just like held it there?
Yeah.
I thought about doing that because that would have been the cheat, that you hold the water and don't let it flow out, but the electrical current continues to flow through your mouth, through the water. It was weird. But that's so unnatural, it didn't even occur to me to do that. I think, here's my big suggestion for an improvement. 4 players, that's cool. 2 players. All right, you're there. You got the cups, one in each hand. You got the straws. And you're jumping around. You got to not spill while you're. Yeah. The water's all over your feet.
You get one of those beer helmets.
Yes, that's what you need. You need the little beer helmet with the straw. Yes. Would have been. Now you know what to do for festival. There, we made it clear for you. Anyway. All right, well, that seems like a good way as any to end lightning round.
Yes, good work.